Okay, so number 14 on worksheet about quadratic inequalities. So negative 6x squared. I'm going to subtract the 4x over, plus 17x minus 5. I'm just going to say equals 0, and we'll come back later and figure out the less than, greater than shading stuff. First thing I do is multiply through by negative, so I don't have to mess with that anymore. Make my lead term positive. And now is where, can I get to 17? Will it factor? See, my options are 1 and 6 or 2 and 3 for the first one. And my options for the second one are only 1 and 5. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 1 and the 5 there. And signs, they'd have to both be negative to multiply to a positive and add to a negative. So I can put those in pen. And then now, switch to a pencil because now I'm guessing. I'm trying to guess smart here though before I write stuff in. I definitely don't want a 6 across from the 5. That would make 30. That would be too big. And a 1 and a 6, I think that would make 11. So I don't think it's either one of those. If I put a 3 across from the 5, that would get me 15, or negative 15. And the 2 across from the 1 would be negative 2x. And so I think I've got it. So it did factor. So x equals 1/3 and x equals 5/2. So I guess that's mildly annoying, having fractions there. I need to know which one of those is smaller. And sometimes that's hard with fractions, but surely not with 1/3 and 5/2, right? Like 1/3 is less than 1. 5/2 is 2.5, so that's not a problem. Close circles for both because of the equal sign. And then I'm going to trust the alternating rule, which means I only need to test one thing. So I would like to test 0. Which interval is 0 in, though? The left, the middle, or the right? The left. Again, it's a fairly common mistake for people to test 0 but always stick it in the middle. Because like, hey, 0 is in the middle of the number line. Well, yeah, I guess if you're looking at the whole thing. But for this one, 0 is over here. So I'm going to test 0 all the way back in my original. 0, 0, negative 5 is greater than or equal to 0. That's not true. Negative 5 is not greater than 0. So that's a no. Now I can alternate. If you're not sure, then maybe you want to test 1. 1 doesn't seem like it would be too hard to test. I'm going to test 1 because it's easy to test and that'll sort of check that I'm doing this right. So negative 6 plus 21 is 15. 15 minus 5 is 10. 10 is greater than 4. So all right, I'm confident enough now. I'm not going to check anything else. I'm going to trust the alternating thing. The other way I could have done it, some of you like, is this parabola. You got to be careful. It was negative originally. So the negative parabola looked like that. And we wanted to know where that is greater than 0. So that would be this portion from 1/3 to 5/2. So again, you can do the parabola trick if you're comfortable with it. If you'd rather just simply check the intervals, maybe it takes a little longer, but maybe you think it's safer. Either way, 1/3 to 5/2. So it did factor, but it was kind of ugly factoring. Bunch of negatives. Ugh. Jeremy?
Will the alternating rule always work?
Okay. Somebody want to answer that? Will the alternating rule always work? Molly's like, eh. When does it not work? When do you have to be careful? When there's only one, when there's a double root. When there's a double root, it won't alternate across the double root. Like we looked at number 11 yesterday. It had a double root. I guess we didn't draw the parabola on that one, but so where is that parabola greater or less than 0? Well, nowhere. It's equal to 0 at 7/2. So the double root is the thing that messes up the alternating rule. So, alternate unless there's a double root, and then don't alternate. And if you're worried, then check everything and you don't have to worry about it.